Yo guys, Henry here, and no, sorry, this is not another lazy reviews just yet. Well, in this video, we got to sit down to talk tech with Ameyaw Debrah. Yeah, but then the reason why I'm re-recording this intro is the fact that we messed up, or I messed up our audio, on my side of the audio. Ameyaw Debrah's side is actually cool. So I'm apologizing in advance for the terrible audio you would hear anytime I speak in the video. If you're wondering why we didn't reshoot it, it was a bit tight on schedule and it's been a long time coming. Like, this video has been a long time coming and this is not even the first attempt that we've shot it, so I decided we should just go with it. So without wasting much time, let's get into the actual video. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so before we get into the entire conversation and everything, I would want to ask, are you on Team Android or Team iPhone?
So I've been on Android for the longest time. I joined, I started going Apple a little over 6 years ago. So currently I use both. And I keep telling people that each of them give you a different feel, and you get something that you sometimes don't get on the other. So depending on whichever you use for a very long time, you get used to it and you find convenient ways of doing things. So yes, I'm Team Android and iOS.
Okay, I think that makes you skip what I wanted to ask next, like why you chose a specific one. But I think generally does. And okay, for me as a tech person, I also sort of agree, because for a very long time, when I'm to recommend a phone to someone or an OS to someone, I mostly, if the person is like a social media person, takes a lot of pictures and those kind of stuff, most definitely I would say an iPhone. But then if the person is someone who wants like longer battery life, plenty storage, and the ability to add memory cards and stuff, I would say Android. And also be able to get free apps and not necessarily have to pay for them. I think there is that. And then, okay, so there is this other thing that I find very intriguing. So based on how our Ghanaian culture is, I can go as far as to say you're one of the people who first adapted the online first, or internet first business model. Was it like an easy thing to do, something like that?
So I'd say it wasn't so easy, but I found myself in that space. And the difficulties back then is, in Ghana, it was at the very early stages. It took time for us to even get internet on our phone. It came and we had to, those who had, was it Internet Ghana or something at home, you could do the dial-up thing. And then from there we had to go to cafes, and then at some point we started getting it on our phones, and the spread and use went all to the ultimate when it became accessible on our phones, because conveniently people could use it when they started. So when I started, although it was popular, it had its sort of drawbacks, and particularly when you are working in on the internet space as a content creator, you have to look at how to make revenue, and that was a challenge. Unfortunately, at the early stages again, a lot of the businesses were not looking at advertising online, and so it took us time to go through, travel to the point where now even a lot of brands are, as long as I've been online, it's post-COVID that I would say that I've gotten the most clients online again, because COVID now had people wondering and looking into other ways of getting their messages across, their products across, and using the internet became like the next thing to go, because if you had a shop and you're not opening but you're now delivering, you needed people to know that, hey, I'm online, I'm doing this. So it sort of gave that boost, and I think now a lot of businesses, even if they weren't aware or were aware but had not tried it, now that they have, I'm sure based on their feedback, they would think about using it a lot more or less in the future.
Yeah, because it's crazy. Okay, for me, for instance, I've had or heard people say like back then, oh, I like okay, so when I complete school, I want to do blogging or I want to do something related to the internet. They'll tell you. I remember when I started trying to tell my friends, okay, I want to do or make YouTube videos. Most of them were like, unless a day up tea, because Ghana here we don't really have people like to use the internet for it to be big enough. Oh yeah, so that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I also understand that you travel a lot. So this one I really find it interesting how like people experience like let's say internet and then other services outside the country and compared to Ghana here.
Oh yes, I mean in terms of speed, durability, and all of that, there is a vast difference. And sometimes you feel it even when you arrive at the airport because the free internet at the airport is even better than the paid one you are suffering with back home or something like that. But yeah, some countries have better internet speed and all of that, and it is real. But it also shows what connectivity and connecting can do. I'm happy when I go to a territory and I'm not even expecting anybody to know me, and then you see one person, you go somewhere, at least one person. It makes it interesting because again, you're not expecting it. I remember sometime I was working at the train station in the UK, and some Ghanaian UK people started. They had seen me from afar, and they were like, "Is that not?" I mean, I'm like, "Yeah, somewhere." So it makes it interesting. It makes it interesting. But in terms of use of internet, yeah, some people, and I think especially when I go outside and I see how a lot has moved into the internet space, a lot of TV channels or even content platforms use internet a lot.
And even our like cellular work. Now you work mostly on the
internet. Exactly. So internet is really running things, and I don't know if you will get there completely, but we are.
Yeah. And especially like with the rise of 5G. With 5G here in Ghana, I have my doubts, but I don't know. Do you?
Well, for me, when 3G came, it was a big thing, and the 3G we were getting, we were not so happy with it.
Yeah.
4G came, again, the same thing. You pay so much because you're expecting something, and you realize you're not getting it fully. So for me, I would want them to perfect what we have now, so that when we upgrade, it's not just adding one generation to it, but it's more you feel the speed and you're able to use it as it was designed for.
So it's something like, oh hey, we have 5G, and then you go and pay huge amount. Then be like, this is just like 4G. It doesn't really.
Yeah, and that has been the experience for a lot of people when they migrate from the various services.
Okay, that's fine. And then so this other thing. The other time I noticed you made a video about an electric car from Solar Taxi. Recently they had started this service, ride-hailing service. Like, I think I found one headline that says that they are the first in Ghana here. And I think, personally, I think it makes sense because with the price of fuel and all that. But do you think you could like fully say, okay, fine, my next car I'm buying should be fully electric and I'm going to drive electric here in Ghana?
Yes, I think so. All you need is your electricity to charge it. I think currently it's still sort of at the concept stage, because we haven't gotten to the stage where there are stations where you can go and plug it in and then charge and then go. When that happens, then you feel like it's something that has been fully integrated into our society. And currently, even with taxi, what happens is you charge it from your regular power source at home, and it's not any extra job. It's easy to plug in, but if you're listening to the news currently, we're going to have some power issues. Yeah, in for some few weeks. So if that's the case, and you don't have electricity to charge your car, then you are grounded to zero. You can't move. Yeah. So we are there, but we're not there yet fully.
Because so for a lot of people, they all like one thing that you hear them say anytime you mention electric car, and most of the time when I pick an Uber or Bolt, I try to have that kind of conversation. Yo, would you consider driving like an electric car instead of this car? And then you hear most of them say, fine, yes, the initial cost to buy the cars, and then also the fact that charging it. I think everyone has this issue where they are like, in case your car runs out in the middle of the road, you can run and then go and buy fuel, and then come and charge your car, then come and refuel your car. But with an electric car, the only way is either to push it or how a tow car can push it.
And pushing it now, there's, you know, even with the regular sort of electric, like with the ignition, because when they say all the word for it, automating things, it's difficult for you to even put it and push. So imagine this is all electric, and you have to do it. But a lot of them are made such a way that there is a backup. There's a backup sort of storage, so that when the main one fails, you can tap into that for some brief moment. So I guess when that happens, your surest best is to use that emergency supply to move to somewhere where you can at least plug, and that will make it a little bit convenient for you.
Yeah, and the other time I was talking to a friend, and then he made this calculations. He was like, so he was testing out an electric car, and he says it can go, if you charge it from 0 to 100%, it can go up to 250 miles or 250 kilometers before it dies out. When I made some calculations from where I stay in Dansoman to Adan and back, is about 250 kilometers, and it takes him about 30 cities to charge it. So in my mind, I'm like, you can go to Adan and back on just 30 cities fuel. That's
efficient.
Yeah, but then we don't get a lot of people talking about it because it's more time than there is light out.
Yeah. But I think that's a lot of the reason why people are embracing it. The cost element is there, and also the impact on the environment is a lot friendlier than the fossil fuels and all of that. So let's see where it takes us in the next 5 to 10 years. We see if it becomes the real new future for automobiles as well.
Okay, I think that's all. But like there is this, like that's my final question. I mostly like try and ask most of my friends or anyone I get a chance to speak to who is like so invested in like the internet business of things. So there are services that we really rely on, something like Google, and then some websites that are also hosted on AWS, like the Amazon Web Services. So what would be like the first set of things you would do if maybe like you woke up and then there is no Google and there is no AWS?
Well, it'd be interesting because like you're saying, we do fall on this backbones for a lot of things, but also you realize that other things happen in the space of, even if it's cloud, all of that we can, it won't happen that everything gets shut down because of one or two companies. There's always something that we back up that we can conveniently fall on. And I think in the past we've seen even big tech giants have issues with servers, and then quickly they're able to turn things around and say, oh, we had this issue, but we are fixing it. We are relying on perhaps a new sort of server just for the interim before they get back. So to be interesting, but in general, if you wake up one day and the whole internet is shut down, then that's going to be interesting, because for most of us, the first thing we do is when we wake up, we
check on
our
the
phone,
internet,
we're checking mails, we are doing all that. So to not have it, it's going to be weird, because for me, and of course, internet is not for everybody, and there are people who run their day without any interaction for it. But for those of us that not only have we been able to create a business out of it, but we rely on it for a number of things, it's going to be a difficult new norm.
I think, okay, for me, the more I think about it, the more scarier it is. Because if I wake up and then I find out like there is no internet, like most of the services I use are not there, I would first panic before trying to look for maybe e-solutions.
Oh yes, it's very rare. I mean, even when these people have their downtimes, and for instance, you want to upload a video on Instagram and it's not loading, you're like, what's going on? What I normally do, I go on Twitter and ask, hey, anybody else having issues? And then before you see, everybody is like, yes, it's not just you. And then you're like, hey, Charlie, and Ameyaw. So yes, it's true. It's the way we've gotten used to things. Yeah, it would be strange if we don't have it.
Calling their network service provider.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The service providers will have all the attack. We attack them first before we know that something bigger is happening. Very true.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And hopefully we get to have more.
Sure.
Well, if you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. And thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.